Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, old, young, new, crusty, whatever you are, however you identify yourself, welcome back to Game Dev Unchained podcast, the #1 podcast for learning the truth behind what goes on in the video game industry. As always, I am the host with the most, Larry Charles. I got my best friend, my co-host, my road dog, my right-hand man, Mr. Brandon Pham.
Hello, what's up, everybody? This is the podcast where every week our production value goes a little bit higher. So welcome to this episode. Today, want to introduce who we have today.
So, we went to college with this guy. He's an extraordinary artist, incredible dancer. He's got a great smile, and he's got that year-round tan.
Yeah.
It's our homeboy, Kalen Chock.
How you doing, Kalen?
Man, what's going on? Thank you guys for having me. That's a great intro. I think I want to use that for any time I do anything in front of a crowd.
Just
if I can have that, I'm taking it.
Yo, you
Sounds
can
Larry
take it.
announce it.
You got it, dude. Just plug us at the show.
You got it, man.
Yeah, we appreciate you setting some time aside to do this with us, man.
Oh, no problem, dude. I'm very happy to be a part of something that's gonna be pretty big, I assume. I know whenever you guys put your mind to something, that is probably gonna be super amazing. So to be at the forefront, like, super down.
You like that slick way he called our podcast small? He was like, I assume it's gonna be big one day, you know.
It's small now, but it's getting big. Like, again, you guys are smart. You guys know what you're doing. So
Appreciate it.
whenever you guys put your mind to something, I know it's should definitely invest in it as well.
Yeah, we appreciate that you can recognize talent. So we're very thankful.
You'll recognize real.
All right, so Mr. Brandon Pham, if you don't mind, can you tell the listeners why exactly that we're bringing Kalen Chock to the podcast today? Because there may be one or two people out there who actually already don't know about this young man.
Well, Kalen Chock is an amazing environment concept artist. We started college together, but he was able to circumvent a lot of the things that a lot of our listeners are very interested in. He was able to create a job for himself, work for himself, work outside of the industry while being in the industry, and being able to create indie projects while sustaining steady income with teaching, with all these side projects that he's doing, and calling it as it is. I assume he's working at tops 2 hours every week, and the rest of the time he's enjoying life. And
Yeah, nobody plays as much soccer as this dude does to still be fully employed.
yeah,
I do love some soccer.
I will say this.
gonna go in the willy-nilly of everything.
Kalen Chock is the real freelance. We had that running joke back in the day where you saw people on LinkedIn. I am a vice president of Freelance Association.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just got a promotion.
Yeah, my 1-year anniversary for doing Kalen Chock Company Freelance.
No, but Kalen's the real thing. When we say freelance, he actually is securing his art contracts. He actually is doing work and getting paid for it fully, doing concepts, doing paintings, doing teaching, doing tutorials. I mean, what else is there for you that's untapped, Kalen?
I think the last thing, I guess, for me is to probably, I guess if you guys don't know, I'm working on my own video game with a friend, and I'm trying to get that out probably summer of next year, and I think when that comes out, I think it will definitely turn a lot of heads. So I'm excited to get that out.
Plug it in. What's the name of the game?
It's called Liege. It's Liege. I'm making it with, it's actually a 2-man team. It's me and a guy named John Rhee. The game company is called Coda Games, and it's a tactical RPG. He was working on, I met him through kind of the art community, kind of on and off. And he was working in finance, really, really weird. Working in finance in New York for years and years, making really good money, but he wasn't very happy. So for 3 years, he made a prototype for a game, and people were like, "Man, this game's tight. You should put it on Kickstarter." So he asked for I think $15,000, and he ended up getting $85,000. And then one of the tiers was if he got past 60, he would hire an artist to redo all the art, because he's not an artist, he's a programmer. And then he found me because I used to always do fan art of my favorite RPGs. And so it just turned out that I did a fan art of one of his favorite RPGs. So then he hit me up and was like, we should work together. And so we've been working together for the past 2 years. Actually, we were at Boston Fig, which is an indie game conference, and we actually won Best Visuals.
Ooh.
So I do all the artwork, and the
art's
art's
about to say.
Yeah,
you won Best
I
Visuals.
love. Yeah.
So,
did you hear the humility in the sketch voice?
No, like I honestly, I was very
good.
surprised when John was like, "Dude, we won Best Visuals." I was like, "How? The art isn't even that. It's not even finished. Nor do I think it's good." So that was like good to know. But we got greenlit on Steam, and Sony actually wants us pretty badly for the Vita because they see the potential, and a lot of people are just waiting for the game to come out. So I think it's going to be great, not because of the art, but just because of the story and the design. And so most games that fail isn't because of the art. Art's always awesome. It's usually the design, how the game plays, how it flows. And I think we focused a lot of time on that instead of the art. So I have a good feeling it's going to be successful. Not because of pretty art, but because of it's a solid gameplay. That's what we're all about. So that's the only thing I haven't done yet, and I would like to be able to put my stamp on RPG games because I grew up playing those as a kid. So I'd like to be able to do something like that if I can.
Gotcha. It's very interesting that you got this contact through your love of a mutual appreciation, and he found your fan art. I'm not gonna lie, I used to joke on people who just did fan art, all the time. But why would you say your art sticks out, in a particular way where somebody would come to you with a credible job offer like this?
I think anything is just passion. I don't think it even has to be good art. I just think it just has to be passionate. Because I think there are people that do fan art, but they're doing it because it's popular. You know what I mean? They're doing it because this is hot right now, so I'm gonna do a picture of it. To me, when I was doing those kind of drawings, I don't do a lot of fan art anyway. I just did one painting, and it's as a joke, and it's just oh, this is my favorite character from this game.
Wow,
and if you guys know this game, right? It's that kind of thing. And I think because he knew that I was a genuine fan of those kind of RPG games, he got that from the art that I was doing, and he was I want to hire this guy, as opposed to someone that's I'm not a fan of it, so I'm not gonna. So I'm gonna do fan art of it anyway and try to get some likes.
Gotcha.
It would be like me doing fan art of Blizzard and Dota and League of Legends. I don't play PC games at all. So I don't know about Blizzard games. I don't know about them. I know all the artists that work on them. The art's awesome. But for me to try to do art for that, it would come off as kind of just silly because it's I don't understand it.
Sure,
what I mean?
Yeah, I understand.
I think it's the passion. He could tell that I was I really like those kind of games, and we could go on and talk about it for hours. And he's okay, he's a legit fan. He's not a person that's I just need some likes on Facebook and shit.
You've humbled me with that answer, man. Because like I said, I used to laugh, but I get it, man. I get it.
Yeah, it's all about the passion. If you're passionate, people will find you. Like-minded people that are passionate about the same thing will usually find you. I think that's how it kind of came to be. He was "Oh, you like RPGs?" I was "Dude, I love JRPGs, like tactical ones." I'm "Dude, I love them." He's "All right, we should work together," because he had plenty of people that he was going to work with too that I think were better artists than me. In my opinion, but I think it was because I was passionate about that. He knew that when shit gets real, that I want to be down to go the extra mile. You know what I mean? So.
Plus, he gets free QA and design out of the deal as well, right? If you have experience with those game genres versus someone else who just churns out art, he's the only person he can really bounce off of. Where with you have experience, you have familiarity. He can say, "Hey, Kalen, what do you think about this? What do you think about that?" Has he ever asked you for your input on some of the features of the game?
Oh yeah, we've talked about it before, and it's easier because I can reference things from certain games that we both have played, and be "Hey, remember this part? We should do it like that." And it's "Oh, okay." Gotcha. I mean that'd be the equivalent of hiring someone that wants to work at Riot, right? You can't hire me to work there. Why? I don't play League of Legends, right? But if you hire someone that's a good artist and plays League of Legends, they're gonna know how to create characters that are gonna fit in the game. You know what I mean? Instead of just creating cool art, they're gonna be "Oh, this could work like this and this and this," right? You get more out of it.
Gotcha.
It's emotionally invested.
Yeah, cool.
That, and you just have the compatibility. You guys probably hung out. He probably talked to you. You're a cool guy, and not everyone that is an amazing artist has a good personality that you would want to work with. So yeah, I think that above everything else was this guy's not a serial killer.
We talked on Skype a few times and Google Hangout, and yeah, we definitely got along. That's one thing that you really can't teach is kind of a personality. I always joke with like my friend AJ. I always say we take like a personality mentorship, where it's like you teach people how to not be weird. But my conclusion to that is it's sports.
Yeah.
People that are usually socially awkward did not play sports. That's my theory. It's probably wrong and stupid, but this is my theory on it. And to this day, I think that I'm right in my head.
So far, so good.
Shaking their
So
head.
far, so good.
Because I think most of my contacts and like most of my opportunities have come from me playing basketball and me playing soccer with people that also work in the industry. And then like just being cool with people. Like if you can be cool with someone on the basketball court, like they'll probably be like, oh, you're looking for work? And then they just be like, okay, I put your name in the system. Like it's like stuff like that. It's really, really like
That's a cool
it's actually how I got Hanway. Remember Hanway?
Yeah, Hanway Lynn.
I got him an art test through someone I played basketball with at the EA basketball court.
Wow.
Like we were playing basketball and like we never talk art whatsoever. We played basketball for a long time, and then one day he's like, "Oh, we've been looking for a new artist. Like, you know anyone?" And I was like, "Check out this guy. He's one of my old students. Like, he just graduated. He's pretty cool." And he's like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna give him an art test, right?" And it's just like, had I not like played basketball, right? You know what I mean? It's like one of those things where like if you can learn to be cool with someone and not like expect anything. Then when they do want something, like if you do want to get something from them, like they're more likely to give it to you as opposed to just me meeting you right now and being like, hey Larry, give me a job, right? Just be like, oh, like I need something from you. It's like, let's be friends first. Let's see if I like you as a person, and then we can talk about that stuff.
Well, that's a huge point too, because like let's rewind back to GDC when we were all students, right? And everyone had different approaches. If you imagine being a professional and someone comes up to you, hey man, oh, you work at Konami? And your answer is like, yeah, I work at Konami. And he's like, can you get me a job? Like, who are you? What do I owe you? That
Stop bothering me.
Your second question to me is, can I get you a job? I'm going to put my neck out on the line to bring in somebody who his second thing that he said to me was, can you get me a job?
Yeah, I really don't understand that. And that actually happened a couple of times when I used to work at Crazy Pixel, my very first job. Is like the same people that wouldn't talk to me like ever would then start talking to me because I had a job, and they'd just be like, hey, what's up, man? Like, how's it going? Like, how's work? How's this? And then as soon as I get laid off, they're nowhere found. And I just never got that mentality of like either you want to hang out with me or you don't want to hang out with me. And it's like it shouldn't be because of my status. That's one of the things that I had when I was actually working at like ILM. The ILM for that short period of time, I think like maybe 8 months, 7 months. But like, as soon as that happened, like my LinkedIn and like my Facebook was blowing up with people that would never fuck with me ever. And it was just like, it was the weirdest thing. So I was like, my art didn't suddenly just get super good overnight. It's been kind of like this mediocre this entire time. So why are you like, hey, Kalen, what's up, man? Haven't talked to you for a while, but hey, dude, I saw someone. I'm just like, dude, you've never talked to me. You've never reached out to me. You've never give a fuck. Like, do you think that I'm that dumb that I don't know like what you're trying to do? It's just like, it's one of the things I didn't like about working at a big studio. It's just like, the amount of dick riding that happens. Yeah. Like, even I feel bad when I know someone at a big studio and they're looking for something. I'm like, hey, do you know anyone? But like, even then I'm like, I feel so dirty. And I'm like, but I remember like, okay, we're friends. Like, I do talk to this guy. Yeah. So it's like, but like, at least ask me how my family's doing. At least like kind of take me out on a date first. Yeah. Before you try and fuck me. At least take me out, like buy me a drink, like, you know, give me some stick first. I don't know. It's a weird thing.
It's the LinkedIn effect. I think everybody, we were just talking about that, how anyone would just come out of the bushes anytime that status change.
Yeah, like when I was there, they had just announced the Star Wars. Yeah. And they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna work on like the new Star Wars films. And I was there at the time, and then all of a sudden, like all these messages, like, dude, working on Star Wars? I heard they're looking for someone. And I was just like, I don't know, dude. Like, it's just like, and even if they were, like, I'm pretty sure, like, I don't think anyone ever goes and they go, hey, I'm looking for a job. And they're like, oh shit, you are? Dude, we'll totally hire you, right? Like, if someone wants you, they'll come and get you. Like,
yeah,
that's
they'll
just
find
the way
you.
the industry is. Like, no one, you never, like, email someone and be like, hey, I'm looking for a job. They're like, oh shit, I forgot. We are looking to hire someone. We'll hire you. If they want you, they'll get you. Like, don't have to be pushy about it, but.
Well, you know what? Now's our opportunity to tell all those cheap-ass friends that try to use that basic level association as rapport to get them a freaking job. Stop doing that shit.
Well, I think here's the thing: is like be nice to everyone.
Yeah.
Even if you think like, unless you know for a fact they're gonna be a complete fucking loser, like just be nice to everyone because you never know when that person might be in a position of power. Yeah. And that may sound kind of like fucked up, and that may sound kind of like conniving, like whatever. But like you should be nice to anyone already. But that shouldn't be the only reason why nice to someone. But you should be kind to someone because that person may be the person recommending you a job later on. And so I think that's what the case is. So like just be kind. I think just be kind and be genuine. Like if you really want to hang out with someone, check in with people. Like I check with people all the time on Facebook. People that I think that are my friends. That I'm like, these are generally my friends, and I never ask for anything. Just check in. Just be like, hey, dude, what's going on? And we hang out. Like I think that's what it's about. Just be genuine. It's like
just do as Emmerich says. Just build up that ass armor. Make sure you
the ass armor. He is like Alan Emmerich, one of the best game design teachers I've ever had, and working on my own game now. Like all the stuff that he was telling me, like
it's all come together.
Totally rings true. I'm like, shit, I should have paid more attention in that class. But regardless, like his stories, the way he taught, like very inspiring. And it's sad that the school doesn't recognize that, and they let him go for whatever reason. So I just feel bad for the future students that won't get to have him because he's definitely made a big impact in my career and working in games. So Alan Emmerich, if you're listening to that, dude, like thanks for all the inspiration, man. Like it's dope.
Yeah, I second that. He is the whole reason why I stayed in design, and I believe that I love it so much was just because he was one of the first people to introduce game design to me.
Yeah. He's passionate. He's passionate, and like you could tell he really loved it. And I think as teachers, you don't see that very often nowadays. And it's like, so I really wish him the best. I hope he lands on his feet. I hope he finds something. I hope someone will grab him up quickly and give him what he deserves, which is his own class. Pay him what he deserves because the guy's been doing it for a while. He's got too much knowledge. So. If they were to fire anyone, I'm not sure why they let him go. I was like, there's any guy to not let go, it'd probably be that dude. But hey, I know.
Who knows?
Well, let's go back to school. Like what decided, like what kind of path? Like a lot of people are listening right now who are wondering how they go about freelancing. Like it's just something we've always thought about. But there was really just no place to go if you want to start freelancing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how did you get into that? How did you sustain it? What tips do you have for someone who is interested in doing a little bit of supplemental income to do freelance?
I think freelance is kind of an interesting thing. To be fair, most of my freelance comes through being affiliated with Robot Pencil, and that in turn becomes being affiliated with AJ. And AJ Anthony Jones, if for those of you who don't know,
shout out,
he's just like the Kobe Bryant, LeBron James right now character creature art. So everyone knows who he is, and he's like, or I guess the Michael Jordan, and I'm the Scottie Pippen, right? Okay. I'm just the right hand man.
I like that.
That's been a part of it. So like it's easy for me to get my 20 points when I have Michael Jordan just passing me the ball when he gets too busy, right? It's so in that regard, he's opened a lot of doors for me, but I still have to have the skills to make that shot, to make those points when he gives me the ball. Yeah. And so most of it has come through him, but definitely we've definitely worked together at a lot of things. And I think the biggest thing was being a part of the community. Freelance is hard because no one ever posts about it. I don't think I've ever applied for a freelance job. Almost all freelance comes to me via email. And they just go, hey, I found your work. I like it. I want to hire you. And I think if you're an active member in the community and you're constantly kind of being at the forefront of what's happening, whether you're posting on Facebook, Instagram, going to events, meeting people, like it's a lot of networking and it's a lot of just keeping your work updated. And I think all those things combined together helps get your name out there, and then people want you to get work. And so I would say to get your name out there, a lot of that has to do with where you work originally. So AJ, for example, got very, very popular when he started working at Sony Santa Monica. But a lot of people have worked at Sony Santa Monica, but why is AJ so famous? Well, I feel like AJ leveraged his his status at working such a big company, working on a very big video game like God of War, he then used that as a way to propel his career as like to do workshops, to teach, to start doing stuff. So he didn't just sit on the idea of, hey, I'm working at a very big company, I'm just going to sit and do nothing. It was like, I'm working at a big company, I would now use that as a way to propel my career and build my brand. So now it's not just he's Anthony Jones working at Sony, he's Anthony Jones.
Yeah.
Right? It's like that kind of thing. And I try my best to do that when I was at ILM, so I didn't want to be a person that's just like, oh, he's Kalen, works at ILM. It's like, no, he's Kalen. Like, he just does what he does.
Yeah.
So if you want to get freelance, a lot of it is just getting your name out there. You can compete in contests, beat people in contests, like go to all the events that are happening. And then I think the biggest thing is just constantly posting good work, and putting it where people can see. If you post good shit and put it where people can see it, people will want to hire you. Now, how consistent that will be, that really depends. But when you find good clients, you get a hold of them, you keep hold of them, and then you work with them, and then you just make sure that they're always happy, so that way they'll always want to come back to you. So for me, the freelance comes and goes, but when it rains, it pours. But then I think the bigger part is just having some way to keep active when the freelance isn't coming through. And I think that's a big thing too, because sometimes the freelance, unless you're like AJ, like he's always busy with freelance, but me not so much. So I have to do other things to with my income, or work on projects that will get me income in the future.
So oh, sorry. All right, fuck it. Dead air. I got this. Kalen Chock, there's one thing that I've seen floating around the internet a lot. A lot of my freelance friends, artists, kind of chime in whenever they see these, but a lot of people who are looking for freelance or who are looking for art will kind of give you that okie doke, hey, we don't have budget for art, but, we can give you some exposure if you work on this project. When you see that coming, what's normally your response at this stage in the game?
For me, I feel like I've worked... I have enough experience where I can say I don't need that. So there's two things. Like here's my theory on doing work. If I'm not going to get paid for it, it better make me super fucking famous. Like I bet doing some work like on Super Bowl where like my name is like on TV, like something, which would never happen, of course. Or the alternative is that the work that I do is super lame, super dumb, right? But I get paid a lot of money for it. So it's like if I'm working on like Hello Kitty Island Adventure, right? I always use that example, right? I'm not gonna put that in my portfolio, but I better be getting like a 6-figure salary to work on that shit because I don't want to do it, right? Yeah. But if I'm not gonna get paid that much, aka my game that I'm working on with John, Liege, right? I don't get paid anything really. It's like he gave me a income for the past 6 months. For the 6 months after that, we've been working for free, both of us. But I know that that's going to make me very, very well known, because when that game comes out and it kills it and it says art, it's just going to say Kalen.
Yeah.
And then when I go to these conventions and stuff like that, people are going to be like, "Oh shit, you're the guy that made that game, right?" A good example was like Dan Paladin, right, from
Castle Crashers.
Yeah, everyone knows his name. He's the guy that made Castle Crashers, right? Like that's what I'm trying to be. I'm trying to go to that Dan Paladin level of like I created this awesome game by myself. It was just me and then my programmer John Ree, which he would be the Tom Folk guy. Right?
Tom Folk.
Yeah. See, it's like
the Newgrounds team.
That's a good example. So it's like I'm not, when I work on Liege day to day, I'm not making any money off of that, but I know it's an investment to my career that will put my name out there, and then people will be like, shit, that guy made a game by himself. And if the game flops, I can at least sell the assets that all that made. So it's like there's like a smart business and career path behind it that I do. So that's my thing. It's like if no one cares about it, I better get paid. If not, it better at least push my career forward. And so for people, like if you're a beginning artist, I actually don't mind taking on free work, because actually to me it's kind of like a sports analogy. It's like a scrimmage. There's like kind of like a low stakes, because like if you fuck up, it's not really, they can't get mad at you for free work, right? You can't get mad at charity,
right?
It's charity, right? So if you don't have a lot of experience like doing that kind of stuff, yeah, do some pro bono free work, client work. You can put it in your portfolio, and like you have the ability to fuck up. So that way, if you do get to those bigger companies, like the Blizzards, Naughty Dogs, and stuff like that, you kind of like played a few games, and now you know that when you get in the game, you're not going to fuck it up. You would never like take a guy like fresh off the bench and put him starting, like, you know what I mean, like starting quarterback, right? And be like, hey, you got out of college, no experience. All right, dude, you're starting quarterback. We'll figure it out, right? And not play any games. Like, he's going to fuck it up in a pretty big way. So it's like, why not have preseason, right? Scrimmage games. Like, it doesn't count toward anything. So if you fuck up, it doesn't affect your
season.
Doesn't affect your season, and also doesn't affect your reputation, right? Because our industry, if you fuck up, like it can haunt you for years. You know what I mean? So it's just like you don't want to be known for working at a big studio and fucking up. You know, so that's why I feel like doing that kind of freelance, like free freelance, is actually a good thing when you're first starting out. But I think some people do like the oh, I won't try unless I'm getting paid. It's like you should try whether you're getting paid or not. Like, I'm not getting paid for Liege, so like, oh, should I not try then? It's like you should give your all with whatever you do. Whatever you do, you should want to do it and do it for free if you have to because you love it so much. So like, I think as long as there's good intent behind it, it's fine. But for the people that go to me like I get it every day. Like someone goes on DeviantArt and they're like, hey man, I got this project. Can't pay you right now, but I'll give you like 40% or something like that, like 20%. And I'm like, so like you can't pay me right now, but you want me to do work so that you can make money, and then I might get money later. It's like, and they always tell me, but it's a for sure thing, it's a for sure thing. And I'm like, all right, if it's a for sure thing, then why don't you go get funding?
Yeah.
And then pay me to do it, all right? See, that's the difference between why I work with John and why I don't work with other people. Right? That's why I fuck with John, because John was like, all right, I don't know how to do art, I don't know how to do animation, I don't know how to write stories, but I'm gonna do all these things. I'm gonna learn it all. I'm gonna do it all. I'm gonna make a fucking game prototype, and then I'm gonna show it to an artist and be like, "Hey, I've already done all of this. So this is how serious I am. I quit my job. I got us funding. All I need is for you to say yes and let's go." If someone did that, then I'm like, "All right, let's do that." Because now I know you're serious. Like that you're legit. But if you're some freaking like 16-year-old DeviantArt kid that's just like, yeah, I dig out the script and I just need everyone to just make my game for me so I can be a millionaire, it's like, you don't know, like you don't understand. And so that's what I think it comes down to is like John showed that he was passionate and that he was serious. So as long as people are passionate and they're serious and there's promise in the project, I don't mind working pro bono for something, like meaning not getting paid. But when I see the artwork of the project people are coming at me with, it's terrible. And I'm just like, do you really think that I'm going to join you and just be like, oh, yeah, dude, I wasn't doing anything. I'll totally work for free for like 12 hours a day for you. Like, I don't, it's, again, that's when you know someone's not serious or that they don't know the industry very well. So to them, I'm just like, yeah, fuck you. Nah.
So now that I know you work pro bono, I got this project that I've been kicking around. I want to tell you about.
This reminds me of a project. I don't have much money.
I will always hear you out, but I'll be real with you. If I don't think it's tight, then I'm gonna say no. That's just the way. Like I'll give anyone a fair shot, but it has to be within reason and within my time frame. And like if it works out, we do it. But like if it's not, then I'll be like, nah, dude, that's whack. like I'll be real with you about it. So like, but I think that goes for anyone. I mean, like any amazing company that's ever started, people probably worked pro bono. They probably didn't get paid for it, but they saw the potential in it and they're like, dude, I'm going to be rich. So fuck it. It's an investment. It's like anything else. There's risk.
Yeah. Risk and reward has to be equal.
Yeah.
As long as it doesn't have to be monetary. It just has to be somewhat of advantage to you where you can go about it without anybody being taken
like the risk has to be all around. Like if I'm the only one taking the risk by wasting my time and you don't get anything. So for you, if it doesn't work out, you're like, all right, then I don't do anything. I didn't pay for the work, right? I didn't pay for anybody, so I don't have any risk. It's like, no, you have to be in it as well. You have to be in the boat with me. So AKA, you got to give me the money. So AKA, like, there's a risk here as well. So if you fuck up,
you got something to lose.
Yeah, you got something to lose too. As opposed to me being in the boat, like him being in the boat, and me just swimming. Like, you know what I mean? It's like you have to show that you're down for the risk as well. And I think most people don't understand that simple concept, and that's why they're probably wondering, like, why don't people like take my projects?
Well, yeah, this is a lot of people that are waiting around pretty much. Once you're waiting, you're kind of waiting for other people to do the work that you are not willing to put in, and people can recognize that, and in the end, it's just nothing's going to be done.
That's the one reason I worked with John, is just because he had already created a game. He did the art. I'm like, you learn how to you learn Photoshop? He's like, yeah, I learned it. I didn't know how to do it, but I just figured it out so I could do it. I'm like, this guy's dedicated. I'm like, you learn animation? He's like, yeah, I learned animation. It's like, yeah, all right, we're gonna do this, because now I know that if shit gets real, like, you're gonna make this project happen no matter what. You're not gonna be like, oh, I can't do it because I don't have a writer, or oh, I can't do it because I don't have an animator. Like, you're gonna get it done. It's like, it's one of those things where you want to come to the table as like, this is happening with you or without you. You could either come along for the ride or not. And most people come to me as like, this can't happen without you. So please join, and you might get some money. But John came to me like, I'm gonna make this game regardless. If you want in on it, you can jump in the ship. I'm already in the boat. I'm already heading off. And I think when you come with that attitude, then it's like, okay, this person's like, it's going on without me. So at this point, I'm just going to join the ride.
Yeah, if the boat's waiting for you, you can take your time. But if the boat is going to leave with or without you, you got to run to make that shit. You know what I mean? Like,
it's opportunity.
Yeah.
So that's the way you got to come at it.
It's very interesting that you bring all that up.
Yeah.
Well, since we have you here and we can dissect your decisions and your career moves, how in the hell did your art take you to Spain? Because I want to go to Spain. I can't draw for shit, but if you can lay out like a path that I can take so I can get there, I'm sure me and all the rest of the watchers and listeners right now would appreciate that.
Yeah, like one of the biggest things as far as like any artist that would want is like the traveling. Like, a lot of us would be crunching all the time, but no one would have the time to go anywhere except for like 2 weeks. So how were you able to work abroad? You're vacationing and working. I mean, that's just one of the biggest things I admire about you.
That one was through AJ again. Now, granted, I'm probably like, AJ does everything for you. I did get him his first job, so I could hold over his head for a little bit, for like 2 seconds, and he's like, but I still scored 40 points, like, whatever. Me and AJ were working together at Crazy Pixel. People probably know that infamous company. It went under, and we were both working on our portfolios. And what happened was AJ got a job at Sony Santa Monica. And when that happened, his name blew up, right? It was just like, because Sony Santa Monica was very, very good at promoting their artists. And so one day, while he's working at Sony Santa Monica, he gets an email from a guy from Spain, and he's like, hey, I want to hire you. Come to Spain. We'll hang out. We'll make a game together. And he's like, dude, I'm at Sony, dude. Like, I'm not leaving. Like, this is like my dream job. But here are some friends that are currently looking for work, and if you're down, I'll give you their portfolio. And he was like, okay, sure. So he gave the portfolio of me, Daniel Garcia, who I think is currently still working at Treyarch. I think he works at Treyarch. And then Edgar Cardona, who works at Machine Zone in the Bay Area, which is near me. And he gave us all 3 portfolios, and I guess he liked them all. And he was like, I want to hire all 3 of these guys right now to come to Spain. So I was laid off, and I was kind of taking a break. I think I was playing Call of Duty. I was playing Modern Warfare 2. I didn't play any video games for a while. And then AJ gives me a call, and he's just like, hey, man. His deep voice, he goes, hey, it's a guy from Spain. He wants to hire you to go to Madrid. He's gonna give you a call in a little bit. And I'm just like, get the fuck out of here, dude. And I just hung up on him, right? I was just like, this guy is fucking lying, right? So now I got a phone call, and it says like +64, right? Like the weird like country code. I'm like, what the? And I answer it, and there's a guy, and it's like, hello? Is this Kalen? So in Spain, they can't say Kalen, they say Kalen. Is this Kalen? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, this is Jesus. I work for a company in Spain. I want to hire you. And I was like, all right, dude, he fucking put you up to this. Like, who's AJ? Like, what's going on here, dude? He's like, oh, I do not know what you're talking about, but to hire you, is that okay? And I was just like, oh shit, this guy's fucking for real. So he wanted to fly us out for 2 weeks. Me, Danny Garcia, and Edgar Cardona want to fly us out for 2 weeks. Check out the studio, work with them for a little bit, and hang out. And so I was like, well, I'm not doing anything, so at best, I get a free trip to Spain for 2 weeks. Yeah. So they flew us out like first class, and we worked there. And actually, one of my high school mates from Huntington Beach High School was living there in Madrid, going to university. He was going to Cal State Fullerton, but he's in the study abroad program. And so he found out that I was there for 2 weeks, and he's like, let's hang out. So during that 2 weeks, he showed me all of Spain, all of Madrid, and I was like, wow, I can get used to this. So it was very lucky that I had like high school friends that were already there. Yeah. Like, kind of hanging out. And so he showed me around, and I was like, all right, let's do this. So we got back, and we accepted the offer. And then we had to, well, the hardest part was getting the work visa, because that's like the most bitch. Like, I now feel for anyone that wants to come to America that doesn't live in America. Like, if it's hard for me to go to Spain, it must be a bitch to come to America.
Yeah.
Let's expand on that. Like, what was that like? Like, is it just acquiring a work visa?
Yeah, so like they have a lot of laws like that they have to hire Spanish people first, kind of like what we have.
Right.
But they had to prove that my skill was unique enough to like want to hire me. So I had to get all this paperwork. So I had to get like FBI like background check, make sure I didn't kill anybody, like all this kind of stuff. And then I had to get it all translated in Spanish. And then I had to get it notarized, and then I had to get it the documents approved at the consulate of Spain, which is in the heart of LA. So it's this traffic city, and they close at like 12, like some random ass shit. It was so dumb. And so like every time we went, we had like some document wasn't right or something wasn't official, and so it took about 3 months, I think, for us to finally go. And then next thing you know, like it was a big risk actually. Like I was actually pretty scared because I was like, dude, can we really trust these guys? Are we gonna get killed or something? You know what I mean? Like some taken shit. Like I thought that's gonna happen, and I was just like, but we don't have an apartment, right? We don't have anything. Like all we have is their word and some Spanish contract that they're gonna pay us. And so,
did you speak Spanish at all before all this? Was that a concern at all?
I spoke Mexican Spanish from high school, but Castellano, like Castellano Spanish and like Catalunya, that shit is like it's completely different. Like there's no like it's so different that it's like it's super hard. So
was that a concern at all?
Yes, it was. But luckily, Danny and Edgar were fluent Mexican speakers, so they were enough to get by. So I was like, well, I'll just stick near them, and then I'll just figure out how to order beers and food, and I'll be good. And so we moved there, and then we stayed in a hostel for 2 weeks while we found a place. And then we finally got a place, and actually we got a roommate, which is a guy named Rob, who was a British guy who got hired there too. So it was pretty much all English people in one house. And then we found a place, and then that was that. We started working there for pretty much a year, which was really weird because everyone wanted to talk to me in English. I wanted to learn Spanish, so I didn't use that much Spanish. Only when I was out in the city. I actually got pretty good for a while, but now I'm terrible. But I need to go back. So I made a lot of great friends there. But ever since then, like it was just travel. So they're very big on their vacations and not overworking themselves. So I got a chance to take a lot.
Like how different exactly?
All right. So
what is the biggest difference that you saw?
So like, all right. So I'll give you a scenario, right? So Larry, if you're crunching that sledgehammer, right?
Yeah.
You want to take a vacation. What do you have to do?
First thing I have to do is go to my boss and request when I want to take the vacation, put that through. He would have to approve it. Once I got the approval, then I'd have to let the team know what days I'd be out, and then I could take the vacation. Most likely it wouldn't be any sort of big vacation, especially if it was during crunch. We're talking like, Thursday through Monday. It's probably pretty cool. I could probably do that.
Yeah. And so you have to do all that stuff, right? You got to ask for it. And then what would you probably do before you left? Would you probably work overtime?
Oh, I would have to make sure that my work was caught up before I left and then some, for sure.
Exactly. So if your work wasn't caught up, you couldn't go. You could buy the ticket, but there's a chance that you could buy your ticket to go to like, I don't know, fucking Puerto Rico. Yeah. But there's a chance that you may not be able to go. But they'd be like, yo, Larry, we need you to stay.
Yeah. I actually went through some shit like that around Christmas time, but I'll leave it at that.
See?
It wasn't actually Sledgehammer's
You planned
fault.
some shit, right? But they were like, okay, you might be able to go, right? With Spain, they can't do that. So it freaked me the fuck out, right? So I was one day, right? My girlfriend at the time, she was coming to live with me. So I was like, hey man, I want to take her to Portugal. So can I take Thursday and Monday off? I'm like, but don't worry though. I'm gonna come in on Tuesday. I'm gonna come in on Wednesday. I'm gonna come in on Monday, and I'm gonna do all the work. I'm gonna do this and that, this and that. It's gonna be quick. I'll have my phone on me in case you need me. And he was just like, yeah, sure. And I was like, what, for real? You sure? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, but I'll come in early though. I'll do the work. He's like, don't worry about it. And I was like, what do you mean don't worry about it? He's like, well, let someone else do it. And I'm like, are you serious? And he's like, yeah. And then this was like 3 weeks before. So like as the week comes up, I'm like, hey man, just remember, I'm going to Portugal. So like, I could stay later. And he's like, Kalen, stop worrying about it. You can go. I'm like Kalen, tranquilo. Like, it means like relax, you know? And I'm like, okay. And then like even like the day of, I'm like, all right, guys, like, I'm not going to be here tomorrow. So like, don't freak out. And then the people were just like, dude, shut the fuck up and go. And then like, I just realized that's part of their culture, that like, you just hand them the slip, you say when you're going to be gone, and then you have 20 days of vacation. As soon as I look at that, they go, okay, you now have 26.
Damn.
And that was it. Like, and I was like, this is fucking. I thought like I was gonna get fired when I came back. Like, I had my phone on me. It took me a while to get used to. Like, my phone was on me. I'm like, what if they call me? You know, no calls. And it's just one of those things that like their culture, where like it's very common for them to go on 2 weeks vacation and just be like, well, like who's gonna do it when you're gone? They're like, I don't know.
Somebody.
Now, granted, their work ethic isn't like the greatest, so like they're kind of slow in terms of like pushing out things on like fast, but
they live longer.
They are very like they're not stressed. And then the other thing that freaked me out too is that like you worked from like 8:30 to 5:30. At 5:30, everyone is gone. Yeah. Like there's no like. So again, so the first couple of days, right? I'd be like at 5:45, and they're like, "Colin, let's go." And I'm like, "No, I'm gonna finish. I'm gonna finish it." They're like, "No, finish it tomorrow, man. Let's go." And I turn around and like the office is empty.
Wake 'em, pens are spinning.
Yeah, they're like, and the guy's like, I want to close up so I can go the fuck home. And I'm just like, oh shit. And then like, I'd be like, hey guys, like next day I'd be like, hey, you guys want to stay late and let's do some art talks? We'll talk about art. We'll do demos. And they're like, nah, I'm gonna go have wine with my family. And I'm like, all right. And it was the weirdest thing that at 5:30 everyone just bounces, and it's just like no one works overtime. It's like you just work from that time. Like it's a job to them, and having that kind of release where I could just go to like travel is awesome. So like I would just go. I'd always be looking on flights online, like Ryanair.com, which is like the JetBlue of Europe, and I'd be like, oh shit, Morocco? All right, dude, we're going to Morocco. And I just give them my 2 weeks and be like, hey, I'm going to Morocco. They're like, all right. So I was in like Morocco, Portugal, Paris, like you name it, like every other week, just spending money. And then too, like you don't spend a lot of money there because you don't have a car.
Right.
Food's cheap, and then you don't. They're not like in America. We're very consumerism kind of society. In Spain, like you just have fun, just like walking around the city, you know,
right.
doing free stuff. So it's like a very different lifestyle. So for me, it was pure by luck. But I would say a lot of times now there are plenty of places that are looking for Western style of artists, but no one wants to move.
Mm-hmm. You're saying that there's a lot more opportunities
now. Yeah. There's always people looking for Western style artists. That's like right now, like what's hot right now is China.
Right.
Like China is like always looking for people. Like when I went to GTC, people were like, "Are you want to move to China?" I'm like, "No, like not anymore." Like if I was like 5 years younger, yeah, but not anymore. You know what I mean? There are people always looking for that Western style of art because the way that we do art is very unique. You know, compared to Korea, China, you know, Germany. So people are always looking for like people to come art direct and stuff like that, but not everyone is willing to take that chance, and some people are just really afraid to do it, and it is scary. Like when I did it, I was kind of like super scared, like what if it doesn't work out? But eventually I came to the point where it's just like just save enough money for a plane ticket home, and as long as I have that, like
security, all you need.
Mom isn't going anywhere, right? I'm already living at home, like fuck it, like let's just do it. And then once I did it, it was probably one of the best months I ever had in my life. Like traveling, meeting other artists, meeting other cultures, like yeah, dude, like if you want to go abroad, just start applying for companies abroad. Make friends at like I would just go to their events, you know, like they had that Trojan horse unicorn thing recently at some like island, like in some like Bahamas island or something like that. Like go to their events and go visit studios, go do stuff. If you really want to work abroad, I highly recommend it if you're young. Like there's a lot of great things you can learn from working abroad, just culture-wise. Just things you never knew about the world. Like it's like the world's so comfortable in Irvine, but like once you go abroad to like Morocco and like other places, you're just like, holy shit! Like I am so small compared to like what's out here.
Yeah, your perspective and the way everything's gone.
Yeah, like going to Morocco is probably one of the biggest things I ever noticed. Because Morocco, right, like Muslim, you know, that kind of stuff, right? The Quran. And what from what America portrays that to be like, and then what it really is when you go there, it's like night and day. They're like the kindest fucking people I've ever met in my entire life, right? But when you see online, it's like all this like terrorist shit and whatever, and I'm like, dude, it's full of shit. Like if you meet people that are just like normal people, they're super nice. But then it's like again, like I never knew that, right? Just growing up in California all my life, like your perspective changes, and it's good. It helps you in your art.
So it's amazing that you get to travel the world and be creative and and create this art for these companies and meet all these people. So that's a huge benefit. But I'm assuming freelance isn't always easy. Can you maybe walk us through some of the challenges or difficulties in doing full-time freelance?
I guess the biggest challenge is probably just staying consistent. That's probably the challenge that everyone faces. It's just having consistent work and then finding good clients because at least when you work for a studio, that's the one thing I do miss about studios. So like, I go through this phase where like I want to work at a studio again, and then I see that you guys are like crunching and have to like wake up on time, and I'm like, fuck that. But a lot of times, but we're for a studio though, you're with that same art director for like, year in and years out. So you get to know him. So then like what he likes, what he doesn't like. Sometimes you can kind of leverage your time a little bit more and get away with shit because you're like, well, I know he's gonna like this, so I can do this, and this. Yeah. But when you have like clients that you don't know very well, you're working for them for the first time, that learning phase of the relationship can be kind of hard because how they communicate their ideas or what they mean by something as opposed to what someone else means. Like you could say more stylized, and I know exactly what it means because I've known you for a while. Someone else could be more stylized, right? And then I'm like, I have no idea what that means. It's all context. So it's a lot harder to understand context, and then it's a lot harder to find good clients because freelance, it's like a new girlfriend like every day, right? And there are going to be some good girlfriends and some crazy ass girlfriends that you don't ever want to deal with again, right? It's like online dating,
right?
And so that's probably the hardest part. And so the best thing I could say is that when you find the good one, is like just do so well by them that they'll never let you go. That whenever they have work, they'll always give it to you. And so that's my thing is that a lot of my clients now are kind of like recurring clients that I may only see them like once every 6 months, but I know that when that time comes, they're going to give me the work over somebody else. And so if you have enough of those kind of clients like spread out throughout the year, you'll always kind of have work, I would say. So
this kind of segues into another question that I have. A lot of the things that we want to achieve with this podcast is that to help developers realize their single point of failure, having a single income. Even with a AAA company, you're making good money, but at any point, it's an at-will contract. You're being able to let go for any reason. So the thing that you're touching upon is creating the multiple income stream, like being able to touch on different stuff, but using the same skills that you've set and learned throughout your years in the industry. Like if I'm someone who's working at a full-time job right now, what would you recommend for me to dip my toes in without quitting fully?
I would say start figuring out a way to leverage what you have. That always scares me when people work at AAA studios and they're making all that money because it's like, yeah, you work there, but at any point in time they can let you go. Yeah. And so it's weird for me when people that work at those studios, they're not either working on their portfolios, or they're not trying to like build their brand or work on their own stuff. And I'm not sure why that is. Like to me, like I just can't picture myself being 50 working for some dude. Like that just like I've seen people like that are just like that old and they're just doing the same shit day in and day out. And it's like their life is in the palm of some dude's hand who probably doesn't even know who he is.
Yeah.
And at any point in time, they could be like, it's just like a name, like Larry said, it's a name on an Excel sheet. Like, yeah, that guy, Larry Charles. Yeah, we'll fire him. Let him go. You know what I mean? And then you're gone.
Know exactly what you mean. We were just talking about that. I mean,
it's like they don't give a fuck about you, unfortunately. And so, like, as long as you know that going in, you should be fine. But there's some people that don't understand that. And so for me, having multiple revenue streams is awesome because then I feel like I can't be taken advantage of, and I feel like I always have leverage. And so I always tell Brandon, like, it's not what you deserve, it's what you have leverage to negotiate for, And so, like, at any point in time, like, like AI or whatever company could fire me, and I wouldn't care because I have three other things.
Yeah.
Like I could lose one of these things, one of my jobs, and it wouldn't matter. I still have plenty of other things because I still have revenue streams, and I'm working on my own stuff to be more independent. So it's like that's the beauty of it. Is this like now I can demand things. Now I can be more honest about things. I'm not always scared of my job. I can be real about it because I don't have to worry about being let go because it's not the end of the world. Like some people, like they don't say things because they're like, oh, I don't want to get let go because this is all I have. But then
Right.
it's almost like being like a guy with like a bunch of side chicks. Where you're just like a girl's like, I'm gonna leave you, and you're just like, fine. Like,
What's your name again?
yeah, what's your name again? Like I already got like 8 side pieces. Like I'm good, right? You know what I mean? It's like that kind of mentality. We're not going to be cocky, but it's like, if you are working at AAA studio, like yeah, make the money and save it. But just I would say like you should be already working on your own stuff, like if you can. But again, some people don't want to do that, and I think that's a big thing to touch on too. Is not everyone wants to be like kind of an entrepreneur freelance guy. Some people want to just work for the same company day in and day out, and that's totally fine. But if you're the kind of person where you want to be more independent and be more financially stable, then I would say, yeah, like start writing your own scripts, start doing your own comics, start doing your own thing. Like that's what it comes down to. Like for me, all the stuff that I do is the ends of the means so I can work on my own shit, aka my own video game.
Yeah.
So I think as long as you have kind of like a bigger goal in mind, I think you'll be fine. But yeah, it is kind of scary to me that like some people work like at big studios, but like they never like work on their own stuff or whatever. And I've seen it happen. I've seen people that have worked at a company for like 12 years and they get laid off and they have no idea what the fuck to do.
Yeah.
Because they've lived and breathed that company for so long and they won't work on their own stuff, and now they're struggling like every day.
Now they're outdated.
Yeah, they're outdated. So that's why I think the biggest thing is like always keep your knife sharp. That's what I always try to do. That's what I do.
All right, so we are 52 minutes into the podcast, and we've got some bills to pay. So we're going to take a quick commercial break, drink some water, do some jumping jacks, stretch a little bit. When we come back, we're going to bring it home with Kalen Chock on the Game Dev Unchained podcast. Hey guys, so it's like this. Do you want to make video games in the video game development industry? Do you want to work for some of the big companies or possibly even start your own? Well, you definitely want to check out Game Dev Unchained, Game Industry Survival Guide. It's a brand new ebook that we put out just for you. It's going to help you get yourself ready, or if you're already in the industry, help yourself grow, help yourself prosper. Definitely go check out that book. It's on sale for $5.99 at Amazon.com.
Hey, welcome back to Game Dev Unchained with Kalen Chock, the amazing man that has done it all, working abroad, freelancing. The one thing that we want to touch upon is your teaching career. So this is something that I'm a huge supporter for people who've been working in the industry. A great extra revenue stream that we haven't touched upon is teaching. Like, what are your thoughts on this?
Teaching is really awesome. Like I enjoy it. I don't really consider it a revenue stream for me. Yeah, I do make money off of it, but I think to me, teaching has always been. I mean, you guys know. I mean, you guys went to art school with me, and though we are where we are now, like we are what you would consider successful. You know, like we have jobs and we're sustainable. Like we can make a living off of what we do. I would say our education could have been better, I think, for lack of better terms. And so I feel like I knew that when I got into a position where I knew enough and I could get back to the community, I would do that. And I think that everyone should do that at some point in time when you get to a position of not so like power, but of knowledge. You should share that back. So I think what I do with AJ and stuff like that, I do with teaching, is to me to kind of give a student a chance that I never had in terms of learning, and to kind of put my stamp on education and kind of make it better. You know what I mean? Like what didn't I get out of education back in the day can I give now to people now? And I think that's kind of the thing. I think getting paid is kind of like the bonus part of it. Like if I could be sustainable and not make any money like teaching, like I would totally do it. Like I would do it for free if I really needed to, because I enjoy giving back. I think that's kind of the thing that me and AJ. I think that's why our career has been so successful, because we've always been cool about giving back, and we've never been secretive about things. We've always just kind of given out the information. And yeah, I think teaching is awesome. I think it's just a way to give back to the community and kind of just give your opinion on what you think it could be better for.
So one of the things that I know that you're quite famous for, because I actually taught alongside you for a little while, this one quote that even changed my life, because I love hearing it. I love how you say it. Can you give us a little bit of detail about it? Kalen Chock will tell his students that suck isn't a style. It's phenomenal. I love it.
That quote isn't from me, actually. That quote comes from my mentor, our mentor, probably Mike Tracy, who used to teach at the Art Institute of California, Orange County.
Booyakasha.
And he was a background design teacher. He got me into background design. So that's like why I always kind of revere him as like my ultimate mentor, at least at AI in that terms. And the reason why I saw that happen, where a girl did a really bad painting and I was in the class hanging out, and she was like, "It's my style, it's my style." And he was like, "You suck too much to have a style." He was like, "Suck isn't a style." And I was like, "Damn!" Like that dude just kept it real right now. And she was quiet. It was like, "Oh fuck!" Like, yeah, you're right. And so I think people are just quick to make excuses. And one of the biggest things that changed my life in terms of art and the mentality I had to have, which is what I try to give to my students now, is like I don't really care about necessarily teaching like Photoshop and background design. Anyone can teach that at the end of the day. Like my job really is just to push people beyond what's expected of them. Like if I like my job is just to push them like mentality wise, to have the right mentality to work hard, to perseverance and not give up. Like that's pretty much what my job is. Like any idiot can teach like Photoshop. But what Mike Tracy did to me one time is he took my painting, I turned it in. It was a shitty painting, by the way, and he put it up on the board, put it up on the projector screen, and he asked one of the students to give me a grade. So he asked my friend Memo at the time, Guillermo. He's a good artist too. He's like, "Guillermo, give Kalen a grade." Right. So I'm looking at Memo like this, like, "Motherfucker, you better say at least a C." You know, like I'm giving him that look, like, "Help me, help me,
help me,
nigga, help." Right. So like, he's like, I think like a B minus, C plus, and I'm like, "All right, my man, right?" And then so then he's like, all right. So then he goes on the computer, and he goes to Craig Mullins' website. And if you don't know who Craig Mullins is, he's like the godfather of digital concept art, right? Like he's like the first guy that did this kind of painterly thing with like Photoshop. Like he's like the king of like digital painting. And so then he took his picture, one of his paintings, and then put it beside my painting. And he said, "All right, so give Kalen a grade now based on if this is an A." And he's like, and I was like, fuck, I'm fucked. And so he's like an F, and he's like, yeah. He's like, "So Kalen, you get an F." And I was like, "Oh shit." And he's like, I'm not really gonna give you an F, but you got an F. And so it was one of those things where like, yeah, he'll give me the C, but it was like, but you should know that this isn't okay. And like that this isn't gonna cut it. And so that was like the real shit I ever heard. And so it was like
whiplash.
Like, without even really saying anything, he was just pretty much like, "You can get by in this class, but when you get out, you have to compete with this guy." And that's pretty much what he said to me in a nutshell. He was like, "When you get out, that's who you're competing against." And that like changed. And as soon as that happened to me, like my world got fucked. Like I was just like, "Oh shit, like I am a fraud." Right. And then like, so then that's when you guys probably met me, is when I was with that angry Kalen that was just like, "Don't fucking talk to me. I need to get better. And if you're not going to help me get better, then I really don't have time for you." Like fuck the world. Like I had to do this. And that's the mentality that I had to have. It was like, fuck everybody. Like if someone's better than me, like fuck that. Like I need to get better than that person. And then that changed my mentality. And it kind of made me like kind of cynical and a little bit like angry a little bit, but like I kind of needed that competitive nature. And I think he brought that out of me, this kind of like darker side of like feelings that I have. And I think it's what I needed though. And so suck isn't a style. Like that's like one of my mantras. What I do now is I actually print out people's work and I put it up on the board, and I line it up. I line it up from like best to worst. And then I just say like, "This is the best, this is the worst." And then I put their names underneath it. And I just be like, "All right, Larry, you're in first. All right, Brennan, you're in last." And then people are like, "Oh shit, what?" If you didn't turn in your homework, then get the fuck out. Right? So yeah, suck his own style. It's not me. It's Mike Tracy. Like he's the man. One of the best users I ever had.
Definitely shout out to Mike Tracy. Another one of the like Alan Emmerich, Mike Tracy, one of the juggernauts that I was happy to learn under at the Art Institute of Orange County, California.
Yeah, they fired those guys. I can't believe they did that.
Well, Mr. Kalen Chock, we have cleared an hour on the podcast. We normally go for 1 hour, and you were such a good sport to come take time out of your schedule to meet with us. It's 1:34 in the morning. The podcast listeners don't know that, but we do. So I actually want to give you some time. If there's anything that you're working on, anything that you want to plug, I know you talked about your game. If you want to get, 30 more seconds to talk about that or, something that you're excited about, the floor is yours, man. You sat with us for an hour. Let it rip, dude. Anything you want to talk about.
I think you guys sat with me for an hour, so thank you for listening to me talk for an hour. But just thank you guys for listening. Definitely listen to anything that Brandon and Larry have to say. I've known these guys for a while. They know their shit, and if they say it to be true, just listen to these guys. Like these guys are successful. I honestly like Larry's like my idol. Like he's like that black guy that I wish I was. He's that guy. And I wish
Larry's my guy too. Actually.
Yeah, I wish I had Brandon's calves. So like, cause he runs a lot. Just listen to these guys. Honestly, like the fact that you wrote a book. I didn't know that. I was like, oh shit. Like I'm gonna buy your book. Which is weird. Knowing that you could give it to me for free, probably. But
yeah, if you want a copy, I'll just gladly.
No, but like I'm gonna buy it. Like legitimately, I'm like, dude, I'm gonna buy this. I'm gonna read it because I bet you there's fucking gold in here. Like that's how much I respect your opinion. So, yeah, listen to these guys, and I'll give you my link to my work and our mentorship that we teach and stuff like that if you guys are interested. But just listen to these guys, and I guarantee if you listen to them, you will be successful.
Well, all right, Mr. Brandon Pham, do you have any last questions or requests before we wrap it up?
Yeah, thank you for listening, and listen to Kalen about listen to us. He has really good advice. But thank you again.
We'll have to get AJ on the podcast.
Oh yeah, AJ, anybody, man, but definitely AJ. I want to hear from Michael Jordan. We interviewed Scottie Pippen. Scottie, you're an all-star. Even without Jordan, you make the all-star team. But if we can get Jordan on here too, more than happy. Love you, AJ. Love you, Kalen. So proud of what you guys are doing out there for all the students. Just want you to hear that from me personally. You're doing amazing stuff. I follow all your robot pencil updates, and I'm coming out to a mixer because I'm this close. I got no excuse.
Yeah, go across the street right over there.
But yeah, thank you for everything, man. This is going to help a lot of people. You just educated a bunch of developers who are looking exactly to what you're doing right now. You're living the dream.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah, anyone can do it, man. Just two people, programmer and art. And there's no reason why you can't do awesome things nowadays. So, no excuse.
All right, well, I'm going to hang up on you mofos and get some sleep. So, Kalen, thanks again. Brandon, thanks again. You gentlemen, enjoy yourselves. I'm going to go edit this podcast so we can throw it up.
Okay, man. Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. All right, we'll see you guys later, man.
See ya.
Peace. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening to Game Dev Unchained. That is this week's episode, and we are out. Are out.